What's going on, everybody? I hope you all had a wonderful holiday and enjoyed your football-filled weekend, but it's been a long weekend. We have a big game coming up tomorrow night on Monday Night Football, so there's no better way to introduce a Bills weekend without a Sunday night tailgate, a special edition of a Sunday night tailgate. As usual, Muki Hawkins, WUFO Sports Director. Muki, how you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. You know, we got a white Christmas outside, like 18 inches of snow, courtesy of the snowman. You know what I mean? So, things are pretty good. So far, so good, Clay.
And our special guests for the evening, Patriots beat reporter Mark Daniels. Mark, thank you so much for affording us with your time tonight. I hope you had a wonderful holiday. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing all right. I had a good holiday. I would say overall I'm doing better than the Patriots, so it's good for me.
As are we. It's been a busy Sunday, but let's talk about the task at hand. The Bills visiting the New England Patriots. Mark, hold on, I got my cursor all messed up right now. But okay, all right, we're good. Mark, from afar, what has really been the evolution of how you've viewed the Bills from an opposing team sideline as a Patriots beat reporter? Give us your kind of take on how the Bills have evolved with their young quarterback in this regime with Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane.
Early on, I remember a few years ago watching Josh Allen at Gillette Stadium. I'm like, oh, this kid doesn't have it. He reminds me of like an inaccurate Ryan Tannehill type, athletic, big, doesn't have the touch, overshooting guys by 20 yards. And I'm like, I'm not sure about him. And 3 years later, you watch him now and you're like, wow. Right? Pro Bowl quarterback. He looks like the real deal. I have him in fantasy. I mean, the evolution of Josh Allen is sort of the evolution of the Bills, right? Like Buffalo has a good quarterback. I mean, a good head coach. That's the start. A good defensive-minded head coach, never mind you. On top of that, they find a young, good quarterback who 3 years later looks like the real deal, a franchise guy. And I love what they did with him offensively because they surrounded him with Stephon Diggs, who's playing like one of the best receivers in the league, Cole Beasley. I even like the rookie Gabriel Davis. Obviously, John Brown's been banged up a little bit, but I think they put the right pieces around Josh Allen. And the fact that he's improved so much is just that's why the Bills are the new kings of the AFC East.
Kings of the AFC East, man. I like the sound of that, Mookie. How about you?
I love the sound of that. We ain't heard that sound in about 20 years. Geez. I mean, you can say it again. I'm not going to stop you. But, I mean, it's just amazing to see how this thing has really took place, how it really evolved. Nobody would have saw this transformation in Josh coming off that crazy playoff game in Houston. Nobody in a million years would have thought that Josh will have this type of turnaround. Coming off the all season, which I seen the kid work. He probably took 2 weeks off right after that game. But other than that, the kid has just been at work, whether it was just seeking advice from, former legendary quarterbacks or just getting out there, working out with his QB trainer and Jordan Palmer. He's just been working so hard at his craft. And he's a very determined, young man. When he put his mind to it, and if he say that he's going to do it or expect this, I tell you what, expect it because he's going to work hard to make sure it happens. And right now you're seeing that he's working hard to make sure that the Bills, are the big dogs of the AFC East. And, he's very humbled about it because, hey, the ultimate goal is reaching the Super Bowl. They're not getting too high, too low with, all this record-breaking season that they're doing. So, it's real exciting to watch every week.
Yeah, without a doubt. And, going into this week, talking about Josh Allen, let's talk about the guy who would have been covering his most important playmaker, that being Stephon Gilmore, who's out for the year with a partially torn quad. Mark, what kind of impact do you think that's going to have on the New England Patriots defense ahead of facing such a potent passing offense in that of the Bills?
Yeah, it's huge. A lot of people make a big deal out of Steph's lack of interceptions and pass deflections, but honestly, the 11 games he played, he was locked down. He was always matching up against the opposing team's number one receiver. You look at the receptions he gave up this year. I mean, I want to say in 11 games, he gave up somewhere like 220 receiving yards. It's not a lot. I want to say opposing receivers were averaging, it was like 1.8 receptions per game on him. So think about that. Gilmore was giving up less than 2 catches a game, which is sort of what you need to know about him. So without him, it's a huge blow. It basically moves J.C. Jackson over to the number 1 cornerback spot. It's kind of the similar setup to when the Pats took on the Bills earlier. They didn't have Steph for that game, and Diggs matched up with JC and actually played really well. I think he had like 4 or 5 catches for like 96 yards on the Patriots. And JC Jackson's a good young cornerback. He has 8 interceptions, 1 behind Xavier Howard for second in the NFL, but he's also played opposite of Stephon Gilmore, so he hasn't typically matched up with opposing number 1 receivers. And it's one of those matchups where, for me, looking, the Patriots aren't going to the playoffs, so I want to see what like a young kid like JC Jackson can do against Stephon Diggs. But in that matchup earlier in the season, Diggs definitely got the best of him. So, yeah, it's a huge blow for the Patriots. Stephon Gilmore's arguably been, I'd say, their best player over the past couple of years, and I would make the argument he was better than Tom Brady last year, which is why he won Defensive Player of the Year.
Absolutely. With that being said, though, Mark, do Gilmore come back? I mean, he sold the house. He put the house up.
All right.
Probably sure he ain't took that down. But what's the possibilities on him returning to Foxborough?
Yeah, it might not be great. His base salary next year is around $7 million. 1 year left on his deal. He wants more money. That's obvious. This year the Pats did shop him. They shopped him around the draft. They shopped him around August, the end of training camp. Then the trade deadline, I know teams called the Patriots on him, but the Patriots wanted top dollar for Steph. They wanted a first-round pick. They obviously didn't get that. So the thing is, this offseason, does the quad surgery basically hurt his market to the fact where the Pats can't get enough for him? But does the quad surgery also hurt him in trying to get more money from the Patriots? So it might be a situation where he's back with the Patriots for a year, but it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. It honestly wouldn't surprise me either way. If he's back, it's great for the Pats, but he's also 30 years old in a contract year. He wants more money, and Bill Belichick trades those guys all the time. Jamie Collins, Chandler Jones, Jimmy Garoppolo. Bill Belichick is not afraid of trading, Pro Bowl players.
Absolutely. And leading up to this game, in the last matchup, we saw the Bills really use their running game as a focal point of their attack when attacking the Patriots' run defense. And I'm curious to know, do you think that is where the Bills would be best suited attacking this Patriots defense again, considering last time both of their running backs, Zach Moss and Devin Singletary, eclipsed over 80 yards, and that was the only time this season that had happened, was the last time the Bills faced the Patriots. So do you think the Patriots could be facing a much more run-heavy approach from the Bills again this time around?
Yeah, honestly, the Patriots' run defense is terrible. They couldn't contain the Dolphins last week, and the Dolphins didn't have Myles Gaskin. I'm trying to think. It was – God, the 2 Dolphins backup running backs, and they're both escaping my name, but they both ran for season highs against the Patriots last week. And then it was Cam Akers the week before, ran for a season high against his Patriots defensive line. And last offseason, the Patriots lost Danny Shelton, who was their best run stuffer. They tried to replace him by signing this guy named Bo Allen. And you might not know who he is because he hasn't played all season. And the Patriots, they desperately need help in the offseason. But, yeah, if I'm the Buffalo Bills, I just run it down their throats all game long. And even with Josh Allen, keep the ball in his hands and just keep going forward because, frankly, whether it's Zach Moss or Singletary, I don't think the Patriots will be able to stop them. They haven't been able to stop running backs really all season. It's been, I'd say, defensively by far their Achilles heel. Yeah.
Was it Matt Breida? I know Matt Breida was one.
Yes.
One of the
Ahmed and Breida.
Yes, they just absolutely went off on the Pats last week. It was pretty embarrassing.
Yeah, the Bills kind of like really, I guess, found their run game against the Patriots the first time. So it was real emphasis on it, and the weather kind of dictated the terms just a little bit that game. But you really seen the run game take off and was really one of the focal points in the Bills, winning that game. So do they emulate that zone-heavy run package that they was just giving to the Patriots again? Or do we see some wrinkles in Daboll's offense off of that? You never know. But definitely expect the Bills to run, a lot up in Foxborough tomorrow night.
Yeah, for sure. We've seen this Bills passing attack really kind of light it up all season. And a lot there's been nothing confirmed, but all signs are pointing towards the return of Bills wide receiver John Brown for the first time in over a month. I believe this would be the first time he's played, I think, since before the bye week. So it's been a while for John Brown since suffering that high ankle sprain that placed him on injured reserve. Mark, do you think this could possibly impact the Patriots? He's a pretty good wide receiver too. And since you're shedding J.C. Jackson over to Stephon Gilmore, I don't think Brown wasn't completely healthy when the Bills played the Patriots earlier this season, but who's to know how healthy he's going to be going into this game? But how do you think that could potentially impact the Patriots defense this week?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. So the Patriots' number 2 cornerback will be Jason McCourty. He's 34 years old. He's a steady veteran, but I wouldn't say he's the fastest guy in the secondary for the Patriots. So if you think about who you're going to match up with, it would probably be J.C. Jackson on Stephon Diggs. Jonathan Jones will match up with Cole Beasley, and then you would have someone like Jason McCourty match up with John Brown, and I could definitely see that going the Bills' way. I really like what the Bills have going offensively. I think even Gabriel Davis has shined a little bit, and add Dawson Knox in there too. He's starting to come on a little late in the red zone, but yeah, it's interesting that the Bills have so many weapons, and again, they've just built this offense really to suit a young quarterback with just so many different weapons to throw to and so many different weapons for a defense to defend. It's pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Gabe Davis; he leads the team in receiving touchdowns. Who would have thought that? A rookie wide receiver, when you mentioned this receiver core that the Bills do have, that Gabriel Davis would be, leading the team in touchdowns. You know what I mean? So that goes to show you Josh Allen, how much an unselfish passer he is. He don't really get committed on one guy. We know Stephon Diggs is that guy. We know Cole Beasley is that guy. We know Smoke Brown is that guy. But, he throws it to the open guy. You know what I mean? So he's doing a phenomenal job of that. And, one more touchdown to somebody per se, Devin Singletary, and that breaks the record for most players to catch a touchdown from Josh in a single season. So I don't know. I put my bets. I'm gonna put the odds on Devin Singletary to break the record.
He's going for those money moves. But Mark, you kind of alluded earlier to the Patriots' weakness along the run defense and Bo Allen. His absence really kind of being the starting point for the point of attack of the Patriots suffering this year. I don't know. The Bills have really found themselves along the interior. I wouldn't be surprised. Would you be shocked to see both Bills running backs to go over 100 yards in this game?
Oh, that would be nuts. I wouldn't be shocked because, you saw what Matt Breida and, it was Salvon Ahmad maybe last week. It just, even Cam Akers, a week before. I think when you go up against an opposing defense and they have an obvious weakness, NFL teams they all know it. They all watch the film, and when you see what the Dolphins did to the Patriots last week and just run the ball down their throat over and over and over again, there's no reason why. I mean, Singletary and Zach Moss are better than the 2 backup running backs that hurt the Patriots last week. So yeah, it wouldn't shock me if the Patriots gave up 250 rushing yards, because they've done that this season sort of routinely as the year's gone on. And good teams, they exploit weaknesses, and Bills are definitely a good team.
All right, and on the flip side, Mark, on the flip side of that, they do give up a lot of yards on the ground, but guess what? They are one of the top 10, have one of the top 10 rushing attacks in the NFL. So, how much did that presents, some problems for the Bills, their run game?
You talk about the Patriots run game with Cam. Yeah, they've really had no choice. The Pats have just been pretty bad throwing the ball this year. Obviously, Cam has 5 passing touchdowns, 10 interceptions, but he has 11 rushing touchdowns. And one thing that's helped the Pats a lot is Damian Harris, a 3rd-round pick from a year ago. He only played in 2 games last year, but he's a really good running back. He averages 5 yards a carry. He didn't play last week because of an ankle injury, but I think he'll suit up again tomorrow night. And they have another back, Sony Michel. So they have good running backs. I mean, the whole thing about the Patriots is if they can get a lead and run the ball and control the clock, that's really how they have to beat you, just because they can't do it through the air. So they struggle when they fall behind, because all of a sudden you can't rely on the run game when you're behind. You really need to throw the ball. So with the Pats, it's all about setting up the run to move downfield and sort of slow down the tempo. And I think really that'd be the only way they have a chance against the Bills is to run the ball, get a lead and stay ahead and sort of control the clock.
Now, with that being said, and then I'll let Clay chime in. With that one being said, Mark, do you think Bill Belichick is doing? How would you rate his coaching job now, based upon what he has and what and how he's able to still manage to be in these ball games with the roster that he has? I mean, he really hasn't got blown out when you look at Seattle on account, and then you look at San Fran. But other than that, he's either won or he was in the dogfight to win it. So how would you rate Bill Belichick's coaching performance thus far?
Yeah, as a coach, Bill's been good in 2020. He doesn't have a good roster, but you're right. The Pats were in it. Pats have basically had a chance to win or tie in a lot of games this year in Houston, in Seattle. Obviously with the Bills, back in was it week 4 or 5 when Cam fumbled, it looked like they were going to go in there. So yeah, the Pats have been close. I mean, obviously being close doesn't matter in the NFL, but the fact that Bill Belichick's been able to sort of coach up this, I would say this depleted roster and keep them in games. I guess it's not surprising, right? It's Bill Belichick. He's a good coach. We all know that. But at the end of the day, you are sort of what your record is, and the Pats are 6-8 going into this game, and they're out of the playoffs. But I don't think the problem has been Bill Belichick's coaching. Now, if you want to say the problem has been Bill Belichick as a GM, I'd probably tend to agree with you.
Yeah, he don't get that too much in pressers, right?
No.
No, I don't think. No, I don't even. Oh goodness! But this kind of goes into the point you just made about his GMing, and I want to step aside and talk about Cam for a second, because watching this offense, watching the Patriots and how they operate up and down the field or lack thereof, it's just maddening how this team is forced to win. And I'm curious to know how you feel about it, because it's obvious there's a bit of a deterioration there with Cam Newton. It's obvious. As the season's gone on, his arm has worn out to what it was initially to begin the year, and that wasn't even that great to begin with. And it's also fair to say that the lack of targets, the lack of separation from said targets, also plays a part in their inefficiency with their passing attack. How do you feel about Cam Newton? Do you think the Patriots should or would bring him back? Do you feel like he's in their plans going forward, or do you feel like he's kind of done at this point?
Yeah, I would be surprised if he was back. He's been inaccurate. He turns over the ball, and I think with Bill Belichick, the two things he wants from a quarterback is accuracy and someone who takes care of the ball. That really hasn't been Cam Newton. Bill Belichick, I'd say in the front office, they didn't help him at all. I mean, his best two weapons are Jacoby Myers and Damian Byrd. And I think you can make the argument Jacoby maybe one day could be a number 2 receiver, but frankly, he's a number 3. Damian Byrd is a 3 or a 4, and those are the Pats' 2 top targets. They don't even have a tight end, honestly, to throw to. It's really poor. I mean, Cam has a tough supporting cast around him. That being said, he has just struggled to hit open men. So, yeah, you don't have the best receivers, but when your receivers are open, you're still not hitting them. And for that fact, if I'm the Patriots, I move on. Frankly, I thought the Patriots should have started Jarrett Stidham on Monday just to give the young kid a chance, a 4th-round pick last year, but they're going with Cam tomorrow night. I wonder if they'll finish out the season with Cam. I would really be surprised. If I'm the Patriots, I go in a different direction. I mean, honestly, I would rather sign Ryan Fitzpatrick and draft somebody. I would rather go sort of that way. Ryan Fitzpatrick's played for every team in the AFC East except the Patriots. Let's make it happen. I think the Pats would be better going in that direction.
Fitzmagic in New England?
Give me him and Mac Jones or something. Yeah, I'll take that.
Now, he is a Harvard grad, but I don't know about that one. Jeez Louise. Yeah, it's a decision time in the AFC East, man. You look at, what the Jets are trying to do, and then you look at the good job that Miami is doing, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like the AFC East is just like taking a about face, you know what I mean? The teams that was on the top is at the bottom, and, vice versa. It's kind of weird, but for it to happen so drastically, so tomorrow will be the passing of the torch. You know what I mean? I understand that New England has been, the ultimate in this division for quite a while, but I think it's time for the Bills to have their best game, on tomorrow. The Bills been red hot. They've been averaging over 35 points the past 6 games, but here comes New England. Can the Bills be consistent and put up 30 points against a New England Patriot team? Something that they have not done since what? Lawyer Malloy played for the Bills? 31.
A long time.
That's a long time. That's a long time. So if it ain't a time to do it, now is the time to do it. You catch a team that's been eliminated from the playoffs. I mean, this is the kick you while you down moment on Monday night. The Bills have to be up for this challenge. All of that, respecting them and playing conservative tomorrow. I don't want to see that. I do not want to see that, especially when, people are starting to say, hey, these guys can give Kansas City a run for their money. So if we're getting mentioned now in the likes of the upper echelon elite teams in the NFL, they definitely have to play like it, especially when you're playing in your division against the team that's dominated that division. So, I mean, just to win by a couple of points, nah, don't make me feel that you're a clear cut, running this division. You know what I mean? You're still going to give New England the thoughts, for, promise for next year. You know what I mean? Now it's just to hit them in the mouth, knock them completely out of their misery. And the time is now to do that on Monday night.
Yeah, it's definitely a big game, and there's certainly a lot at stake for the Buffalo Bills. Potentially sweeping the Patriots for the first time since 1999. That's a big deal. Going 5-0 in this division, that's a big time. That's a big deal for the Buffalo Bills. All these things that the recent success, it's all fairly new. The team hasn't had much success to speak of over the last 20 years. I mean, since the Patriots started dominating the AFC East. So it's certainly strange when you're starting to talk about the Bills being in the likes of Kansas City, which I personally think they are. I personally think the Bills match up very well with the Kansas City Chiefs at this point in time. And to go along with that kind of conversation, Mark, where do you think the Bills really kind of fall in the hierarchy of the AFC?
Yeah, I think they're there. I mean, I wouldn't put them up with Kansas City just yet because I think you have to prove yourself, and obviously Kansas City has done that. It'll be interesting. I really like the makeup of the Bills. Right. I mean, you have Tre'Davious White, you have a number one cornerback, you have a decent pass rush, you have a defensive minded head coach. On top of that, you have a franchise quarterback. So, I would love to see them in the AFC Championship against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas Chiefs. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I've seen obviously the Pats go up against the Chiefs a lot over the last couple of years, especially in the playoffs. And it's crazy watching Patrick Mahomes in those moments, right? They score so fast with Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, and that would be something. Honestly, I think the Bills are there. They're very close, but obviously to get there, you got to beat the best, and the best team in the NFL might be the Chiefs right now. Granted, I would say this: they didn't look good against the Falcons today, and the Atlanta Falcons haven't been good. So NFL's been weird this year, guys. So hey, 2020 has been weird. So if the Bills are going to make it to a Super Bowl, I say 2020 is just, it's 2020 season is kind of perfect.
Oh, yeah. Right. There's nothing more fitting to the hell freezing over theory of the Bills winning the Super Bowl in 2020. Nothing more fitting, in my opinion. But you're right. The Chiefs haven't really looked good, not only this week, but probably the last 6. So it's certainly something to keep an eye on going forward. But I think more importantly, and something that a lot of Bills fans are interested with, what do you think? Well, you kind of alluded to it with Ryan Fitzpatrick, but more along your practical thoughts, what your honest analysis, prediction, opinion. What do you think the Patriots do with the quarterback position? Is it time to hit the reset button, or is it time to bring back in Jimmy G? What are they doing?
Yeah, they need to bring in a bridge quarterback and draft someone in the first 2 rounds. If I'm the Patriots, honestly, and you can put yourself in position to get one of the top 4 quarterbacks in the draft, I take a 2022 first-round pick, match it with – they'll probably be somewhere around 15. Trade 15, a future first, and move up and get one of those top 4 guys. And on top of that, add a bridge quarterback. Is it Jimmy Garoppolo? Maybe. Is it Jacoby Brissett? He spent a year in Foxborough. Maybe. I personally like Jimmy Garoppolo. I know the Patriots liked him. However, they had issues with his durability. That was an issue in New England. His obviously he had a chance to start 4 games when Tom Brady was suspended for Deflategate. He only lasted 1.5, suffered a shoulder injury. The next offseason, he couldn't make it through minicamp because he strained his calf, and then the Pats traded him. And part of the reason for trading him and not sticking with Jimmy was due to the medical stuff. So I do wonder, though, because he has familiarity with Belichick and Josh McDaniels, if they'll make a play for him if the 49ers are done. I think that might be an ideal scenario. He has 2 years left in his contract, so you could still draft someone. You could draft someone, Mac Jones and Alabama, or the kid from Florida, and have Jimmy for 2 years as sort of your bridge guy while you develop. I don't think that would be a terrible plan, but we'll see. I mean, Fitz magic though, right? It's just that'd be hilarious to watch. For me, it'd be fun to write about, but I think the Pats would probably prefer Jimmy Garoppolo.
Nice. Yeah. So, I mean. What's your next latest and greatest story, Mark? You write for Providence Journal up there, man. Yeah. We need to tune into what you're writing, man. What you working on?
This week I took sort of a deeper look at one of the Patriots assistant coaches. His name is Brian Belichick. He's Bill Belichick's youngest son. Bill Belichick has two sons on the roster. There's Steve Belichick. He actually calls defensive plays. He's the outside linebackers coach. And Brian Belichick, this year was his first year as a safeties coach. And with the Belichick sons, I always want to talk to people about them, right? Because I think on the outside looking in, people think nepotism with this situation. So for me, I want to talk to players. I want to talk to coaches. What are they all about? And the thing I've found out is Devin McCourty was telling me this week is that Brian Belichick is pretty legit in part because he's been around on the Patriots sideline since he was like 10 years old. He's honestly been around for the last 20 years. So you have this young assistant coach who knows more about the Patriots than most players in the system, and it's working. And the way Bill brought up his sons was actually the same way that his dad brought up him. His dad was a assistant coach at Navy for 34 years, and he brought Bill to the press box and on the sidelines to sort of let him watch what he did. And that's how Bill Belichick learned the game. And that's what he's done with his two sons. And, they're sort of making their mark here on the Patriots. I know on Twitter, I get a little bit of flack for writing those stories because, again, it's Bill Belichick's sons, but players seem to like him. So that's what I've got going on.
Yeah, I got to follow up on that, man. You got to be on the lookout for them because, hey, the greatest coach of all time. Now he got two sons out here. Man.
Protege.
Yeah,
Protege.
I ain't got time to be dealing with the kids now for the next 20 years. I don't have time for that.
Imagine that. And you don't get a bowl of cereal. You just get a film session with dad. That's all you get for breakfast.
Two Sith Lords, Clayton. Two Sith Lords.
Yep. Bill actually would help them break down their high school film.
Right.
They've been doing that since they've been breaking down films, since they were like 8, 9, 10 years old. So
football's probably like a sixth sense to these guys.
Yeah.
Like those Belichick kids, I understand Bill is a mastermind in his own right, but those kids it is raised in the pool. My goodness, you're going to hurt my head talking about it, Mark.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
It's going to be a fun game tomorrow, regardless. I understand both these teams aren't really at the same points, and we could talk about how they got to the various points. And the Patriots dynasty coming to the end the way it did, and the Bills really kind of resurging to relevance. It's all found its way into this season. And next year, I think the Patriots are really going to be a threat to the Bills if they do find that bridge quarterback you alluded to, Mark. They have 8 players returning off the COVID list and various other moves they can make within the draft and free agency. So it's going to be an interesting year next year, with the New England Patriots. But I'm curious to hear, what is your prediction for this matchup tomorrow night on Monday Night Football?
Yeah, I think the Bills are going to win. I wonder, how much points they can score in Foxborough. Obviously, it's different with no crowd, but I would take the Bills probably somewhere like 27-17. Patriots just have such a hard time scoring points this year. I just don't see it happening. I would honestly be shocked if Cam Newton went off and the Pats scored over 20. I mean, realistically, the Bills could score 21 points, and I think they would win on tomorrow night.
All right,
interesting.
Yeah.
Now, New England wins if
they get out to an early lead. That's what it's all about. If they can get out to a 7 to 10 point lead, they'll control the clock and they'll be able to run the ball fairly well. That's their MO. They have to win the turnover battle. But I'll say this: New England wins if something crazy happens, like a special teams touchdown, a pick six. That's really been their biggest win this year was against the Chargers, and they saw like a punt return for a touchdown, a pick six. They need something wild to happen, right? Like Josh Allen's running in for a touchdown, he slips, fumbles the ball, and they run it back for like 95 yards. Like something weird would have to happen, honestly, for the Pats to win and to take pressure off their offense.
Oh, it's fun. Yeah. It's funny. I'm so used to saying these things the other way around. Used to it. Something crazy is going to have to happen for the Bills to win this one, guys. I don't know. But, yeah, Mark, I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for your insight. It was a pleasure having you on here. You kind of shouted out to the article you had going. You were working on. Anything else you have to look forward to for the fans? Place where they can find you on Twitter, and anything you have in the works that people could tune into.
You can find me on Twitter at MarkDanielsPJ, and honestly, for me over the next month, this will be the first time covering the Patriots when they didn't make the playoffs. I've been writing about the team since 2011, so I think I'm going to enjoy my January. I'm going to write a lot of quarterback stories and look at guys like Jimmy Garoppolo and, Phillip Rivers and all these free agents who probably aren't that great, and, enjoy watching some playoff football. And frankly, I miss Buffalo. I didn't get there this year because of COVID. So I'll have to, go back next year and try some of those great wings and all that. So looking forward to 2021, and yeah, should be an interesting offseason and playoffs watching the Bills.
Absolutely,
man. Yeah, but hey, I'm feeling the other kind of way too, man. I haven't had the opportunity to get to Foxborough, you know what I mean? But I guess we'll have to do it again next year, right? When
That's
all
right.
this stuff is said and done. And you will get a chance to chop it up, especially with this new schedule. I know everybody's seen the new schedule come out. I guess, we in the South again. So where do New England play Tampa Bay? Do Brady come back home or?
Yep. Yeah. Brady versus Bill Belichick next year, Gillette Stadium. That'll be a good one. Yep.
The NFL never ceases to amaze me how it works like that, right?
It's gonna be incredible. I know it's gonna be insane.
Yeah, it's gonna be insane. At least he get the farewell that he had deserved, at least. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With those fans and stuff like that. So that'll be pretty awesome. But hey, man, Mark, I wish you nothing but the best, man. Keep writing, and we'll see how tomorrow unfolds, right?
Yeah, that's right. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, have a happy New Year, man.
You as well.
So, wow, that was I just clicked the okay. Little technical difficulties here. We will be joined by Jeremy Turner Montgomery here momentarily. Spence could not join us tonight due to unprecedented circumstances.
It's snowing in Arizona, man. I just got the word. It was snowing in Arizona. They don't know how to handle that stuff. They're real frantic right now. They put an Amber Alert out for the whole city.
They probably clear their patios that they haven't had. They don't even have snow. We need to ship snow shovels, right? Like that's probably the situation we got to do. I don't know if many people in Buffalo can afford to ship off their snow shovels right now, but I'm pretty sure we can go to a local Home Depot, take care of our people in Arizona. Shout out to JSpence.
Raised in Arizona.
This Mookie, I said it last week on the post-game show. I said it last week on the Overtime podcast. I alluded to it last week on the Saturday Night Tailgate. Get your shovel. Not the snow shovel. Not for this white stuff we have coating our roads for the first time in 8 months. But get your shovels ready to bury the dynasty. And who better to talk about burying the dynasty?
Hey, there he is.
Jeremy Turner Montgomery. JT, how's it going, man? Hope you had a Merry Christmas. Sorry.
All set up for you. What's up, guys?
What's up, man? You good? You nice and thawed out over there, man? You good?
I'm good. I know you guys got a little bit of snow out there in Buffalo. I'm happy to see you guys out that way. See you guys shovel it out or still snowed in, whichever way, but you guys are healthy. That's good. Good time.
I don't know. I kind of felt like a kid again, man. I started making like snow castles and tunnels and shit.
I got the hot cocoa.
There. No. I even got the grown man onesie suit that you can like use as a sled, just sliding down the hill on it and stuff like that. I had a good time. I tapped into my inner childhood one time down last night.
Nah, man. I hit that snow and that ice and that wind hit me, man. Them joints hurt. Them joints and fingers. I'm good with that, man. I'm good with that.
No, we talk about tapping into childhoods. Jeremy, it's been a long time since this team was really ready to make a run, probably since your childhood. So heading into this Monday night affair, does it have any more meaning to you other than, the typical Bills and Patriots, the AFC East matchup? But no, it's pretty obvious where both these teams sit right now. The Bills are ready to make a playoff run, and the Patriots, we don't know. They're to be determined. So how do you think this game's going to go? Where both these franchises are? What direction do you think this game's going to take? You think it's going to be ugly, or do you think it's going to be a tight divisional affair?
Well, if you really want to talk about the Patriots and to be determined, I think that's Tom Brady deferred. But no, I think that what it really boils down to is the Buffalo needs to win this game. I think psychological-wise, this is a psychological battle that has been with New England Patriots for the last 20 years, especially the last 10, okay? And since Sean McDermott got here, before that week, whatever 5 or 6 win we had with them, he hadn't beaten them. And we can say, at least out of 3 of those games, we felt that the Bills should have won. So I think moving forward, to actually call ourselves the kings of the AFC East and to officially psychologically dethrone them, we need to sweep them. we have to sweep them, and that's just my opinion. Like I get it. I know playoff seeding is important. All things AFC. We already got the AFC East championship wrapped up, but I think it's very important to bury Bill Belichick and New England Patriots this season. Bury them.
Right. I'm in total agreement with that. Like, ain't no more 24-21 squeezers. No, we don't want no squeezers with New England. We want domination. All right. You going out here and y'all beating up on Seattle Seahawks, y'all beating up on everybody that y'all people don't think that y'all should beat up. And then here come the, to the handicap, the not so good New England Patriots. Not so good New England Patriots. Since when have we ever said something like that about New England Patriots? Here they come. So we got to put them out their misery. It's no more close games. You've been averaging 35 points a game, since Arizona. I don't want to have no. It's not a time for a letdown. It's not a time to be respecting anyone at this point. It's time to just go out there and just play with confidence and swag, like my man Teron Johnson said this week. Swag, breeds confidence, and that's what the Bills need to go into and being aggressive. They've been aggressive for 6 weeks in all phases of the game, offense, defense, special teams, and they need to be consistent at that tomorrow night. Like, we don't care because of the logo on the side of the helmet anymore. So it shouldn't be about respect. It should be just go in for the kill. I smell blood in the water, and let's go ahead and just punch New England in the mouth in Foxborough and do what the Bills been doing the past 6 weeks. New England is no different. They you can run the ball on them. So with that being said, I mean, if you can run the ball and Josh Allen's back there throwing for 300 yards a game, it's a no-brainer for them to have. It should be an onslaught. I'm expecting it to be an onslaught tomorrow. Brian Dable, you have to dial this thing up against your former team and do what you're supposed to do. This is the statement game. Right? Everybody want to say, the Steelers was a statement game, or every week it's a statement game. No, this is the statement game. Even though the Bills have, the division, they have the title, but this is still, you set the statement, you set the precedent, you let New England know that this championship, this division is ours, and is going to be ours for quite a while, not just a season. All right, so you shut the door on it tomorrow night. You put the nail in the coffin tomorrow night. All right, so that's what I want to see. I don't want to see no close games. I don't want to see no conservative play on the fact of, okay, we respect New England. And no, I want to see pure domination tomorrow. Or somebody, I'm asking somebody about it. They're going to tell me something.
And, I feel like we all hold the same sentiment. We all want to see the same thing. We want to see an asserting victory over the Patriots. And we can all understand how things shook out the way they did in their affair earlier this season. Cam was driving down the field to maybe win the game, but Justin Zimmer punched that ball out, and he made a play that needed to be made in order for the Bills to win. And that's neither here nor there. But at this point in the season, and Mookie keeps alluding to it since the Bills have averaged over 35 points per game since that Arizona Cardinals game, and that's the key in this game. You talk about how hot this Bills team is. I can't compare it to anything I've seen this team been on ever. This team is rolling on all cylinders in all phases. They're as confident as any team in the league, and they are playing with the swagger that a championship caliber football team needs to play with. And I think that is the biggest factor many people forget when talking about leading into Bills games, because it's not always about, they lost this team, they beat this team, this plus that equals a loss for the Bills. No, that's not what it is. Go ahead and watch the Bills' last 6 or 7 games. This team is firing everywhere. Special teams, defense, offense. They're playing physical, they're playing fast, and they're playing fun, confident football. And I think that plays as large of a part into the Bills, what I believe will be an asserting victory over the New England Patriots in comparison to their victory earlier this season, where I believe they won just 24-21? That's how that game went, correct?
Yeah, pretty much. And when you talk about this team being hot, the Bills team has not really been this hot as far as offensively. You really got to go back to the Bledsoe days, where the Bills blew that Week 17 game to Brian St. Pierre and the Pittsburgh Steelers to miss the playoffs. You have to go back to then. It's when this team was that hot. But this game is a tale of two different seasons right now. And what I mean by tells of two different seasons is New England, when we played them before, their season was still alive. They still had a chance to make the playoffs, possibly still win the AFC East, although they were still down. They were down a lot, but they still had a shot. Their season is now over. Buffalo is playing for something a lot bigger. They're playing for the number 2 seed or whatever if you want to call it that. This is a team that's got to be somewhat mentally not fully there. You're playing New England team that has not been this mentally incapacitated in the history of some of us even watching the Buffalo Bills. So this is why I say it's vitally important to go into this game and just dominate them. And I don't want to call it this, but you have to go show Bill Belichick who daddy is. That's what it boils down to. Bill Belichick is the king of showing people who daddy is, right? Well, now we have the belt and we have to go in there and show, hey, we're daddy. We're the Buffalo Bills. We are your father. And that's it. And if we don't do that, then we're leaving the door open for next season. We have to go in there and, excuse my language, and kick their ass so they know when they face us next year that, hey, you may get your ass kicked again. And maybe twice. It's just the way it goes.
And, it's well-deserved. You kind of alluded to it when you first hopped on, talking about how the Bills have come close with this team in years past, talking about how defensively the Bills had this team beat. Let's not forget, the last time these two teams met on Monday Night Football with Derek Anderson, starting quarterback. Actually, it was technically LaShawn McCoy because he got the first snap at Wildcat. But Derek Anderson, the starting quarterback for the Buffalo Bills, that was a game until the last 3 minutes when they had a pick six, and then all hell broke loose, to say the least. But the point is, the Bills have played this team close since Sean McDermott has gotten here, other than that 2018 throwout year, to my recollection. And, I'm all on board for what these guys are saying. You need to dominate the New England Patriots at this stage. At this stage of your rebuild, at this stage of where you're going, get that monkey off your back. Get it off your back. You're taking 20 years of pure domination by the New England Patriots in the AFC East. What better way to put it behind you than blowing them out in their own stadium after you just won the crown that they've won the last 20 years in the previous week? Mookie, we lost you for a second. You good?
Yeah, man. I think it's it's still a little blizzardy out here or something. I don't know what's going on, man. But yeah. The thing about it is, it's just Belichick is Belichick. No matter how depleted that team is, he's going to find a way to, take what you do best away. When you look at it, here are their Patriots. They're the sixth rushing offenses in the NFL. On the flip side, they give up 133 yards on the ground. But in return, they give up, less than 215 yards in the air. So it's going to be challenging to see, is it pick your poison for the Bills, or do the Bills just say, you know what, we're just going to, we're based upon the coverage you gave me the first time we played you guys, we have answers to that now. So that's what I want to see. I want to see, do the Bills have the answers to what the scheme defensively that New England presents to them? Because Bill Belichick is not going to change. I mean, he feels that, hey, that was his game to lose last time. So I don't think he's going to change too much in his defense. They was bend but don't break. Steph did have 6 catches for 92 yards, but he had to work for every bit of that. And, JC won some battles. He ended up getting the pick. So, you have to see, did Josh and Dable mature from the previous win against New England and have the confidence enough tomorrow night to go out there and demonstrate dominance, and have those answers to New England's questions tomorrow. That's what I want to see right off the rip.
And, I think it's pretty safe to say that everybody on your screen right now is fairly confident. And when, we're confident on the tailgate, it turns into some pretty good bold predictions more times than not. Some pretty good bold predictions that we can poke at each other with in the ensuing weeks. Jeremy, since it's your first time coming on the tailgate, first bold prediction. Either side of the ball, don't care. You get the first pick.
My bold prediction is that I'm gonna go with the Bills winning this game by 21 points. And the reason I say that is Mookie just said the word confidence. The last couple years the Bills have played New England, I felt like the defense came in and the defense were prepped and primed to execute every play because they were playing the Patriots. They came to ball. I felt like the offense came to ball as well, but they were not confident. They were playing scared, almost felt like to me. The last few years. I think after beating New England the first time, I don't think this offense is going to come play scared. I don't think it's nothing to scare with. I don't think it's Hoodie. I don't think it's McCourty. I don't think any of these guys are anything to fear. And I think they're going to come out and they're going to put on them early, and they're going to put this game to rest by the early third quarter. And I think you'll see Jarrett Stidham.
Yeah, I kind of figured that you at some point you're going to see Jarrett Stidham, and that's why, I say New England's going to probably score late in the game. You know what I mean, off of my prediction there, but it's just that you're so anxious for the Bills just to go out there. It just beat New England. If the Bills would finish 2-10, you would at least want those 2 victories to be 2 blowout victories by New England. So at least we can say at least we kicked New England's ass. You know what I mean? But that's the only thing that's missing from this season is dominance over the New England Patriots. And this is the time. You don't have no Brady. They don't have no Hightower. It's like, come on. Like, we have the most weapons that we have ever had in the Josh Allen era, and we still struggle. You know what I mean? We still struggle, you know what I mean, offensively against a depleted New England team. No, not tomorrow night. If we want to take that next step, like everybody said, if the Bills want to take that next step, then they need to go out here and destroy the New England Patriots. Not just, play patty cake with them until the fourth quarter and then, dominate that. No, I want domination for 4 quarters. That's what I want to see with the Bills. I want a Muay Thai. Make them quit if need be. Run them off the board with points. You know what I mean? I want to see control and domination tomorrow. And that's going to let me know that the Bills are the beasts of the AFC East. Yeah,
without a doubt. Bold prediction?
Bold prediction, I'm going to say, as of late, Bills been kind of finding a tight end. You know what I mean? Like, they really been kind of finding a tight end. I'm going to say Dawson Knox have over 100 yards tomorrow.
Ooh. Yeah. That'd be the first time they had a 100-yard tight end in a long time.
I'm gonna say Dawson Knox, man. We tend to forget about these weapons that they have. I mean, you do got Smoke Brown coming back, so we have to see how creative Coach Dable is going to be. Do he got some new wrinkles in that zone that New England saw in the first game? Do he have setup plays now? That's what I want to see. As of late, he's been having those setup plays like we saw. Little Dirty going in motion, and he'll get that jet sweep, but they fake that jet sweep and hit him with the wheel over the top. So you're starting to see little glimpses and wrinkles of Dable's offense actually setting up the plays that he's been running in prior weeks. So that's a good sign for me to let me know that, hey, Dable is progressing as a play caller. So I just want to see some domination, man. I'm the Patriots on the clock. I just can't take it.
I agree with both of you. I think the Bills are going to have a very convincing win tomorrow. Jeremy said over 21, but the Bills are going to win by more than 21. And Mookie said a 100-yard tight end. I'm going to say both Bills running backs are going to go over 100 yards rushing. And my second bold prediction is going to go in part of that. But here's why I think both Zach Moss and Devin Singletary will have a solid day tomorrow. You saw how the Bills used their rushing attack for the first time in this season against the Patriots all the way back in week 5. Or no, it wasn't week 5. I believe it was 6? I think it was 6. We talked about how the Bills' rushing attack really was their focal point in that game, both running backs getting over 80 yards. I don't think you're going to see a much different attack. Do I think you're going to see a much more efficient Josh Allen? Yeah. I think the Bills' offense is going to be humming in this game. Absolutely. But I don't think that this Patriots defense is going to have any answers for the Bills. Because go ahead and go back. Go watch Josh Allen's last handful of games. It doesn't matter what cover they're throwing at this guy at all. It cover 3, 4, 2. It does not matter. They're not disguising it. They're not stopping it. Josh Allen's doing what he wants with the football in his hands. And what does Josh Allen is at his best when his rushing game is being supplemented properly. And I think you're going to see an extremely efficient Josh Allen. You're going to see an extremely efficient Bills offense, and you're going to see both these running backs go over 100 yards. You're going to see this offense control the clock, control the pace of the game, and I think win in dominating fashion this week. I think that's ultimately the point that they're going to get at. And I think, hey, it's going to be fueled by over 100, what I believe is going to be over 500 yards of offense for this Bills team against the Patriots, which would be some feat, to say the least. Do you guys have other bold predictions or no?
I'm gonna go out and say, man, hey, bold predictions. I say a lot of records get broken. Josh Allen needs 360 yards to break the single season passing record. Stephon Diggs needs 55 yards to break the single season receiving yard record. If the Bills win tomorrow, that makes 6-7 straight in a row. They haven't did that in quite a while. I'm quite sure it's another record. If Jerry get a sack and a half, he passes Cornelius Bennett. You know what I mean? It's a lot of things at stake. It's a lot of individual incentives and a lot of individual achievement that can go along with this win tomorrow. That's at stake, with some of the players. So maybe all four of them go down tomorrow.
I like Mookie's Dawson Knox because you guys know I'm a Dawson Knox supporter, man. I'm big on Dawson. So I'm still big on him. A lot of people beating him down a little bit, but I think that a bold prediction for me is I don't think the Bills go with any sacks tomorrow. 0 sacks in this game tomorrow, and I think we create 3 turnovers. And obviously Bill Belichick teams, even in the losses, they don't turn the ball over like that. Mm-mm. I think Buffalo causes 3 turnovers. I think that the New England Patriots have jitters for this game.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we look at it on the flip side on how we are with New England, but hey, maybe they starting to get Bill syndrome and seeing that damn, the Bills kicked their ass too. Damn, they didn't kick Steelers' ass too. So that kind of your confidence level starts to dwindle a little bit, especially when you it was a close game, but then all of a sudden that team is getting better, and then you're not getting better, and then you got to run into that team again. So it's just that maybe New England come out tomorrow with their damn tail between their legs. I would be shocked if they play that way, but who's to say that they don't play that way? We might see a New England Patriots team that we never seen before on Monday night, and the Bills just have their way. I would love that. That would be a great Christmas gift, if they were to come out and play like that. But, it's just that, damn, you're just so anxious for this game to happen because you just want them to come out and just destroy the Patriots. That's all that all the Bills fans want. They don't want a close game. They just want you to go out there and just kick their ass, man, from beginning to end. That's what everybody wants to see tomorrow. I can't say it any more blatant than that. I've been trying to sneaky get it out of the players during the week in my pressers. How much do New England deserve y'all best game? You know what I mean? Y'all running through this thing. How much do New England deserves to get that? You know what I mean? I didn't want to say it to the point where, we need to go out there and dominate, and then it goes back to New England, and they use that as motivation, all that crap. You know what I mean? But no. You know what I mean? What's going on, man? If a team's been kicking my butt for 8 years, and all of a sudden my team is that team this year, you better believe I want to destroy them. I want to destroy them better than anything. You know what I mean? So I'm quite sure they got that mentality, and I hope they smell blood in the water tomorrow and just go out and just destroy New England, man.
There's going to be I just wonder if they're going to break the Monday Night Football record for views tomorrow, because there's going to be 31 fan bases out there hoping that this team just goes out there and just gets absolutely dismantled. I mean, this is like the Avengers, 31 fan base of Avengers united against Thanos. That's it. We're kicking you while you're down. You're done. We're pouring gasoline on you and just lighting you ablaze. It's to that point. And I think, to your point, Mookie, yes, This is what people need to see. This is what people want to see. This is what the Bills need to do. And I think mentally, and you get to talk to these guys, they're not viewing New England like they did last year. They're not even viewing New England like they did before the first time they played them. This is a whole different view. Like, yo, I think they're gonna come out and they're gonna beat the holy hell out of them.
Yeah, they beat the holy hell out of them, man. I mean, and then you got players, like Stephon Diggs. He wasn't around for none of that. He ain't got New England Patriots syndrome. So he's coming right in, just doing you filthy like he normally do. You know what I mean? You got Quentin Jefferson and Mario Addison and all those new guys. They don't have New England Patriots syndrome. So, they coming right in to, tear your head off. You know what I mean? So, and then you got the other guys that's pissed off that New England's been, beating them, the past 4 or 5 years or however how long they've been in the AFC East. So now is the time to release that frustration on the biggest and brightest of stages on Monday night for the whole world to see. The NFL knew what they was doing. They set this game up. They said, okay, Buffalo, you want the crown? Let's do it on Monday night. And God damn it, you better perform. You know what I mean? So they better perform. They got to perform. I mean, the world loves the Bills. They love them on TV. So that's more primetime games for next year. So go ahead and complete it and be undefeated on primetime. And just manhandle the Patriots, please. Please, because if they don't, then, you got to ask the questions all over again. Is this team ready to take that leap into the playoffs? Depending on how, Baltimore is playing as late. You look at the hottest teams right now in the AFC, Bills and the Baltimore Ravens. Okay, you get Tennessee, but right now they're getting smacked by, Green Bay. But the hottest teams by far right now are those two, Baltimore Ravens and the Bills. And, potentially they can meet up. If the season ended today, that would be your first round in the playoffs, in Baltimore and, in Buffalo. So you taking out two hot teams. The two hottest teams play each other in the first round. So, that's another discussion we have to wait for another week. But the Bills, you're too red hot to have a letdown against a depleted New England Patriot team going into, the way Miami's playing. The way Miami is playing right now. So you don't want to give them any extra fuel to think they can come in here in Buffalo in December or January and think they got a chance on winning. So, this could be very well a lot of pressure for the Bills just to go out here and dominate tomorrow. We don't want the close games because, again, the question is going to come to, I don't think the Bills are ready, to take this step. Sometimes a team just have your damn number. But not tomorrow, man. Not tomorrow. Nobody want to see a close game tomorrow at all.
Yeah, I don't anticipate it. And you were both kind of alluding to the point of this team, wearying in confidence for the Patriots, that is. And it's interesting you both bring that up because when rewatching these games and periodically throughout the weeks, because I'll always watch these AFC East opponents when I get the chance to, and watching the New England Patriots, that's kind of the aura they give me, that they don't really have that confidence. And you watch how Cam Newton's playing. You see the receivers he's trying to throw to, and then you see the rest of the offense just have a total lack of efficiency as a result because their inability to throw the ball. They don't really have that much confidence on the offensive side of the ball. They don't really go out there with a plan of attack and go out there and execute. I haven't seen them execute in a lot of weeks on that side of the ball, and I haven't seen them play confident football really since leading up to the Bills' first time, their first matchup with the Patriots. So when talking about the Patriots and playing confident football, I think the Bills and the Patriots are two opposite ends of the spectrum in that regard. And I think, well, like I said earlier, that plays a lot into this football game, especially into this time of the year when, I think everybody in that locker room knows that they're not going to the playoffs this year for the New England Patriots. They're not playing for much more other than a season next year and trying to not get injured and hurt their worth in the offseason. I don't think you're going to see a very motivated effort out there by the Patriots. And do I think that that's a little crazy to say, hindsight, all things considered? Absolutely. When we talk about the Bill Belichick-led team, when you talk about a team that, has so much around it in terms of their historic impact and their dynasty and what have you, but that's done and over with. It's done. That's not the Patriots of the past. This is not the Bills of the past. You're not going to watch this team all of a sudden rise from the dead to just beat the Bills on Monday night. That's not what I anticipate at all. And you're not going to watch the Bills just come out there with deflated balls, pun intended, and go out there and lay an egg. That's just not what they're going to do. I said this on the post-game show last week, and I feel like every single week, Bills fans have been waiting. I talk to people at work. I talk to people all around where I'm at, and I live near a lot of Bills fans, so there's a lot of opinions that you can observe, especially online as well. A lot of people are just waiting for that letdown. They're just sitting there on the edge of their seat, waiting for this team just to do what they expect them to do what they know them to do. And that's just not going to happen. You're not going to see it happen. I don't think you're going to see it happen this week. And quite frankly, I don't think you're going to see it happen maybe until the AFC Championship. Who knows? But I don't think it's happening against the New England Patriots. Stop waiting for this letdown. It's not going to happen from this Bills team, and it's not going to happen on Monday night this week either. I don't think this team matches up well with the Bills at all, and I don't think this one should even be a contest. I think the Bills are going to go into Foxborough, and they're going to claim their dominance of the AFC East, and they're going to hold the stake and say, hey, I'm not sure what the landscape looks like going forward, but for 2020, the Bills are definitively AFC East champions, and they should go in there and they should remind the Patriots who the AFC champions are. That's how I think they should approach this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of approaching the game, it's going to be one player that won't be getting on the plane. Your boy TJ Yeldon, he tested positive for COVID. So right now he's the only Bill. They're doing the contract tracing. I'm quite sure that they're going to test the guys again when they get off the plane tomorrow, just to make sure no one else is tested positive. And just keep your pinkies crossed and hope that no one else, as a precaution due to contact tracing, will be effective for tomorrow's game. You know what I mean? So to be continued on that note, guys. So, that's something to, keep a lookout for.
If they put Singletary and Moss in the same plane?
I'm not sure. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. That's the first thing that came to mind. Like, well, damn, running back. First thing that come to mind is the Singletary and Moss. So was the contract that close? Was it a problem where they didn't have a mask on around TJ Yeldon? That'll red flag you too. So you see what happened yesterday with Cleveland. The linebacker had it, and the receivers was around him, to a degree where, they precautiously had to hold him out because of that. So you don't want no more, on that list if you're the Buffalo Bills going into this week, and especially, Miami coming to town. So we need all our horses. We need all our guns blazing. And, we don't need no forks in a row, especially due to COVID right now. You know what I mean?
Speaking of which, you kind of touched on Miami and what, I want to talk about it before we get off air, because the way things are kind of shaping out, it looks like the Bills are going to have to win out if they want that number 2 seed. That's how things are shaking out. And Jeremy, I want to hear what your thoughts are on if we talked about the last 2 weeks, really. The Bills enter week 17 with that number 2 seed up to play for. If they finish 13-3, they're going to get it. If the Steelers and the Bills both finish 13-3, are you starting your players against Miami in week 17 if you're playing for that 2nd seed?
I mean, at this point, yes, because like I said, I don't want to go into the playoffs rusty. I think we saw a huge let down from Baltimore last year with resting players and taking almost 2 weeks off. To the point where they came out by Tennessee, were rusty for the whole first half and just got smacked. They never got in sync. Obviously, I would love to play the match game, if you better say, and try to get that Miami matchup. But at this point in time, I don't, with the Colts literally blowing that game versus Pittsburgh today, just do everything out of whack. Because if Indianapolis would have won that game, I believe Buffalo would get had the number 2 seed, as long as they came out and won this game tomorrow. And you would have had, I think the Colts would have been, I think Miami would have been the 6th seed, last seed, or Cleveland would have been the last seed at this point, with no Baltimore. Personally, I think the Bills could beat anybody. I'm trying to stay as far as hell away as I can from Baltimore as I can. That's a very dangerous team. As Mookie has already said, there's two hot teams in AFC. One is Buffalo, the other is Baltimore. I'm not trying to deal with that. Any of them teams, I'll play them. I'd rather play Miami. To be honest with you, I think Miami is a bunch of scrubs. I'm losing faith in Miami's coaching staff week by week as we go on with their handling of a quarterback. If you want to see how not to handle and how not to build a franchise quarterback, you watch what Miami has done these past 4 to 5 weeks. And I have a ton of respect for Brian Flores and Chris Greer and those guys over there in the front office, but the way they're handling this is awful. You're talking about, well, we may have to bring in our relief pitcher. What the hell is that about? What is that about? Is this guy your future or not? If he's not your future, then kindly sit him back on the bench. If he is your future, let him go through his struggles. If not, he's going to end up like Mark Sanchez. So that's the team personally that I want to play. So if there's a way that I have to win out to play Miami, then I'm going to win out. If there's a way where next week I win tomorrow and I got to sit, and guess what? If we lose to Miami, then I'm sitting every single starter I got, because I'm going to get this QB carousel in 30-degree weather up here in Buffalo with 6,700 fans, 6,700 fans up here in Buffalo, and I'm going to beat them.
Right. So how, okay, Bills beat New England. So now we're moving on to week 17. In order for the Bills to get the 2 seed, they have to beat Miami. Right. So, and then Cleveland will have to beat Pittsburgh, right? So do Cleveland get in if they beat Pittsburgh? It's a crazy situation because, okay, Bills beat Pittsburgh. They both end up 12-4. All right. I mean, no, the Bills will be 13-3, and Washington may be 12-4. So that washes out. But then again, the Bills could win, and the Steelers could win out, and they had the same record, and the Bills will still have the head-to-head. So if the Bill right now tonight, Bills are the 3rd seed. If they win tomorrow, then they go back to 2. And the Steelers will go back down to 3 because the Bills have the tiebreaker over the Steelers with the head-to-head. So, okay, if they win out, Bills still get 2 seed, no matter what the outcome is. They just have to beat Miami. But then again, if they lose, it's just, I don't know. We just got to get past New England right now. We just got to get past New England. Just go ahead and just take care of business. Get past New England, and then we really could break this down, because this one's going to probably be the most interesting week 17 in NFL. Because there's still so many implications leading all the way up until the fat lady singing next week.
Trying to figure out this equation is going to be one of the most difficult equations ever, because, like I said, right now, technically in my head, so I don't get confused, I still have Buffalo as the 2 seed, because if they went out, that's what they remain, because they have the tiebreak over Pittsburgh. But the issue was this: if Cleveland beats Pittsburgh, they're in. If Cleveland loses to Pittsburgh and the Colts win, the Colts are now in.
So the Colts would be 7.
The Colts will be 7, because as of right now, I believe you got Miami. Miami's your 5 seed, Baltimore's your 6 seed, and Cleveland's dropped to your 7 seed today because of that loss.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, so hey, either Cleveland, Bills can win out, be the 2 seed, and face either Indy or Cleveland. And the thing about Indy is, hey, they didn't play in the dome all season just about, so they come in the cold weather. And Phillip Rivers, he ain't never played in this type of weather late in December. You know what I mean? So
I'll take Phillip Rivers against the Bills any day.
Kick me King Choke, man. King Choke Phillip Rivers. That's what he is. King Choke, man.
Yeah, I'll take any one of those guys in the cold weather. I just, we deal with Baltimore when we're supposed to deal with them right now. I'm not scared of them, but I just don't want the 2 hottest teams in the AFC just going to combat in the first round. You know what I mean? Let's see how hot these 2 teams are really get, and maybe they might meet each other here in Buffalo and do an AFC championship. Do us a favor, knock one of them big seeds off, and come to Buffalo with fans now. You know what I mean? So it couldn't happen at a more perfect time. Like how the Bills are just so schematically just so in sync right now. Now You get the fans to come and enjoy the playoffs at home. Like, it couldn't get no better than that. Like, everything is starting to line up. You know, who would have think that the fans would give the Bills that extra boost they need to potentially get to the Super Bowl? You know what I mean? So it only take that one home game. And, you know, after that, let the chips fall where they may. And if Kansas City get knocked off or something like that, and the road got to go through Buffalo, boy, y'all better get ready for Tampa. Better get ready for Tampa. That's all I'm gonna say.
To go along with that Dolphins conversations, the Bills just opened as 4-point favorites against the Dolphins next week for what it's worth. But we haven't given our predictions yet. Jeremy, who's winning tomorrow? What's the score?
So I said what? I said I wanted Buffalo to win by 21. I'm gonna go Buffalo 31 to. I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna go 31 to 10. 31-10.
Okay. Muki?
I'm gonna say 33-20. You know what I mean? The Bills are gonna be dominating that game for quite a while. Beyond that, then you know Stenham's gonna come in and then he's gonna throw a couple of late touchdowns to get it to 20. But I expect the Bills to dominate this game from beginning to end, and you know just run it up. You know, it's a track meet. The Bills is like a track team right now, right? They just running. They just running you off the gym. They running you off the field. And then control it with a nice sound run game and a great defense. And right now they have those elements. They have those ingredients to do that. So I expect the Bills to, you know, make it be a track meet, something that New England can't keep up with. You know, so as long as the Bills go out there and force the tempo tomorrow, 33-20 Bills.
And I said 34-13 on the overtime podcast earlier this week. I'm going to stick with that score. Very confident in that score. Bills are going to win this. They're going to bury the dynasty. Got the shovels ready. Sharpen the shovels. They're ready to go into Foxborough and finish. Oh, he's got that damn knife.
I ain't bring this one out in a long time. It is time to
all right.
Cut the head off, baby. It's time to cut the Belichick head off.
Hey, it's time. The time for the Bills to bury the Patriots dynasty. It couldn't come in a more appropriate time of the year. Week 16, leading up to what they hope to be their first real playoff push in 25 years. It's going to be a fun night tomorrow, or at least I anticipate it will. Who knows what's going to happen? We'll find out. Fellas, Muki, it's always a pleasure. Anything you want to plug? Where can the people find you? What do they have to look forward to?
First and foremost, you can find me up underneath a rock, man, because you know, I ain't coming outside. You know, it's cold, too cold. You know, social distance, all that good stuff. You know, you want to check me out? You can check me up at Waffle Sports. You know, Power 96.5. We have our Waffle Sports Report every Sunday live on the radio. You know, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Waffle, WUFO Sports. Holla at your boy.
Jeremy, you have the Pressure Front podcast with Lorenzo Alexander every week. You have your Yak podcast with James Mallory. What do you got going on? Where can the people find you?
You can find me right here.
Oh,
you ain't got to go far. Right here in the station. You can find me. That's the only place you're going to find me. But yeah, no, I got nothing really much going on. We got a couple things coming up with CFR. Make sure you get over the Cold Front Report webpage. If you have not been there yet, it's a very nice webpage. We're getting more and more articles up there. The thing looks nice. You know, we act like we know, kind of act like we know what we're doing a little bit. And, you know, other than that, yeah, that's pretty much it. It was nice joining the Saturday Tailgate. I always get to watch it at work, but since it was on Sunday, I was actually home. So, you know, it's nice to jump on here.
Yeah, good to have you, man. It's finally you finally join us on the Tailgate, man. About time.
Yeah.
I was about to throw a flag on you if you did.
Like Jeremy said, be sure to check out our webpage, coldfrontreport.com. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at coldfrontreport, Instagram at coldfrontreport_Bills News. And this is the first time you're coming across our Facebook page. Be sure to drop a like. We always have engaging content coming out throughout the week for all the Bills Mafia. All you can get and more. But thank you all for tuning in. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Stay safe, stay healthy, enjoy the game tomorrow. And hey, go Bills.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.